Jason had that.
Lord, I love you. I thank you tonight for this country we live in. Thank you for life. Pray that you give us wisdom tonight. Help us make the decisions to help out the township. Pray for Israel tonight, the situation over there. Pray that your will be done. And in Jesus' name, amen.
I'll pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice to see all of you come out. See a full house again. Okay. Yeah. Okay, y'all have a copy of the agenda in front of you. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
County road report. Oh, county commissioner report.
Mark, you go first.
With Brad Benson. Mr. Benson. Sorry about that. I only read the county.
The road commissioner can go first.
Yeah, he doesn't really want to.
Thank you very much. Nice to be with you all. A little fall cool in the weather, so kind of nice. And as we take that fly pattern off that thing called winter. I brought along with me tonight and gave to the clerk already a copy of a resolution that the Board of Commissioners passed after my introduction at our last regular meeting. For a number of years, the legislature has had bills introduced in regard to requiring every 5 years an inspection of septic tank systems at both private residences and businesses in the state of Michigan. And if your septic system were to not pass that inspection, you would have to remediate. You would have to fix whatever did not have it up to whatever standards that the health department set for them, the state of Michigan set for them. And if you were unable to do that, potentially they could condemn your house and tell you to go find someplace else to live. And anybody who has ever experienced putting in an engineered mound fixes, you can spend $25,000 down just south of where I live in Woodbridge Township around Frontier. Very, very common to put in those mound systems down here. So anyways, there's 4 bills that were introduced into the legislature. They're Senate Bill 299 and 300 and House Bills 4479 and 4480. And those all deal with that every 5-year inspection. And I felt that was a big hardship on the low-income people in Hillsdale County and also the senior citizens in Hillsdale County. Probably not good public policy. And so consequently, we did, the Board of Commissioners unanimously did pass a resolution in opposition to that. And a copy of that resolution was forwarded on to both our state representative, our 2 state senators, and also to the governor's office of the Michigan Association of Counties. So if you would like to see that, I'd be happy to share a copy of that with you, or you can look those bills up by those bill numbers online. We continue our discussion in regards to the location of where our district court, many of you know that is the traffic court, the small claims court, the land lieutenant court, which is currently in the courthouse annex building. We sold that building earlier this year, and to a group of individuals who are buying up commercial properties in downtown Hillsdale. Unfortunately, my fellow commissioners that were in support of that idea did not really think too well, because we have to find a place to put the department. And we really didn't have a plan where that was going to be. So currently, we are looking at, we've actually had an architect draw some drawings for us of using the Department of Human Services building out on Care Drive. That building is about 15,000 square feet. We could actually, over a period of time, get both the circuit court and the district court, which are our 2 criminal courts, into that building. However, we would not be able to do that all at once because it's pretty expensive to do that remodeling work. Commercial construction right now, new construction, is running about $1,000 a square foot. Just remodeling and putting in walls, electrical, things like that. The technology in the court would require probably $300 to $400 a square foot. So even at half of that, it's got a pretty hefty price tag. We've got about 3 more years before we have to start moving out of that building, so we need to get something going with that. that. It probably will take a year to build that out. We have not made any final decisions. We are going to have a discussion tomorrow about that because at our last meeting, we did have a commissioner absent, and so consequently, we probably will be having some additional discussion on that. There's been some talk here at the township level, along with all the other townships, in regards to, because of now the 9 days of in-person early voting, having a consolidated precinct, and I am pleased to report to you that all but one of the townships and cities in Hillsdale County that run elections have agreed to partner with that. So we will have that precinct for early voting. It's 9 continuous days, including Saturday and Sunday, prior to any state or federal election. So the first time that we will be doing that will be at the presidential primary, which we still really don't know what the date of that is going to be. It's either going to be in March or it's going to be in February. There actually was a bill that has been signed into law to change the date into February. However, the legislature, since it doesn't have immediate effect, that bill will take effect 90 days after the legislature adjourns for the year. So that date, we're getting pretty close. Sometime in October would be the date that they would have to be adjourned by. And so it'll be interesting to see what that date will be, but it'll be somewhere in that window. And all but Somerset Township will be participating. So our 5 cities within the county, and then all the townships with the exception of Somerset Township will be participating in that early voting. Of course, you can also early vote by absentee ballot. Michigan now has no reason absentee ballot. You can request that from your clerk and do that as well. And of course, there'll be regular in-person voting where you normally would vote on election day. We did receive a $500,000 or $500,000 grant. Our district court judge, Judge Stuyvesant, made that request, and it will allow for Hillsdale County to develop what is known as a domestic violence treatment court. Domestic violence continues to be a problem not just in Hillsdale County, but all across the country. And basically, this will create a special track within our judicial system in Hillsdale County to deal with those individuals, to help them get treatment, and hopefully see that they don't re-offend again. The dollars that we are getting with that grant, they will actually hire a probation officer who will work with those individuals as they move, as well as help us with treatment for those kind of offenders. So that will be interesting to see how that works out. And again, that's a 4-year grant. We are trying to move, and to your clerk and treasurer here, Hillsdale County is trying to move all of our recurring payments to EFT, electronic fund transfer. That will simply, number one, get hands into the people that we pay regularly. We'll get money to you quicker, and also will eliminate the expense of cutting checks. It's pretty expensive, $7 to $9 to actually hand cut and then mail out a check. And it'll also eliminate the chances of those checks getting lost in the mail. And so to the townships, we probably will be discussing with you in the future, probably in the next month or two, once our county treasurer is able to work that out with our bank and our budget chair of how that we can take that place. And then we will give you the option. At this point, it will solely be an option for all of the units and any other individuals. Basically what brought this up is we make a bunch of payments to people who are public defenders. We have 4 or 5 attorneys, local attorneys. They get checked every month, and to try and streamline that, get those funds into their hands a little bit quicker, that's really what brought about the discussion. But we would like to move across the board. Probably 10 years ago, we started paying all of our county employees, much like probably anybody else that works for a little bit larger employer. Their check shows up in their checking account on every week or every 2 weeks or however frequently that you get paid. And we've been doing that with all of our county employees, like I say, for about 10 years now. So like I say, look for us moving in that direction. We'll have the information on how that will take place. We did form a committee in regards to our county solid waste management plan. I did mention to you a couple of months ago that Eagle, Department of Environment and Great Lakes, they are going to be sending out sometime this month a directive to all the counties that we will have to update our solid waste management plan. Ours was last done in like 2001, and so it's been 20 plus years. And one of the issues is you have to name in those plans where solid waste from your county goes. And a couple of the landfills that are in our current solid waste management, they're running out of room. They're probably going to end up closing those facilities, so we need to find some new ones, and we need to update that plan. And so we do have slots for representatives from township government. And so if anyone who is a member of the township board would be interested in serving on that, the application is on the county website. It's under the county commissioner tab, and citizen involvement, you can find that application. It also lists all of the roles. There's like 10 different roles that need to be filled from different interested parties. And one of them is from a conservation or natural resources organization, township government, city government, actually from the waste haulers themselves. So there's a number of different participants in that. And we will move forward. It's going to be kind of a long process, probably several years to put that together. The good news is the state actually has a grant to help us with the cost of doing that. It looks like pretty much if you apply for the money, you'll get it. And there also is some additional incentive if you work with another county to help plan with that. There's some additional financial incentive, like $10,000 additional dollars available under the grant process with no match if you participate with another county. We did also receive the Community Corrections Grant, and we have now up and running with a Community Corrections Board. Basically what that will do is it will create a position that will oversee individuals from the time that they are arraigned in our circuit court, which is where high court misdemeanors or felony offenses are adjudicated, and then oversee the process as they move either to final resolution of being convicted and sentenced, they enter a plea bargain, or they're found not guilty. So this individual, they will oversee those persons as they move through the court system. That position is an open position, and if you know of anyone who might be interested, someone who might be interested in the criminal justice system, kind of getting in their feet in the door, pay range will be $20 to $22 an hour, and we'll be working for Judge Lisney with the circuit court. And if you go to the county website, the information on that position is on the website, as well as how to apply for it. And that concludes my report for the evening, unless you have questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you. County Road Commissioner.
Well, I can talk for quite a while, or I can stay just a little bit.
I prefer.
All right, fine. October is Shake Your Mailbox Month. Shake your mailbox, see if it's in good shape, so the plow comes along and doesn't knock it over. We're putting that on our website and on Facebook. And also, we are still doing work in the county. We're replacing culverts and seal coating. So look at the Facebook page, or look at the website, or listen to the radio, and you'll know where we're working. M49 should be opened up probably next week. They were paving today when I went by it, so. 99, they got that, a temporary fix. They put what they call a flowable fill in it. And they took the stoplights down, so they're gonna leave it that way for the winter, and then they'll be back this coming summer. Close the road probably to repair it properly. And also, there'll be bridges going in on Territorial Road and at the Village of Camden. There's going to be MDOT's going to replace the bridge over M49 there. Other than that, anybody got any questions? If not, I'm all done.
That's it.
Wow. Okay, moving on, public comment. Remember, keep your comments addressed to the board. Do not comment amongst yourselves. Be respectful. 3 minutes only. Who's first? Gail McClanahan.
Well, I lived in Adams Township most of my life, and I've been involved in some way since 1972. And I've never ever heard such garbage before. There's rumors on the internet where some are talking about their township officials that they couldn't get them to return their calls, or they weren't being very accessible. But this is not Adams Township, as one gentleman said. That's good. At least they're not milking the taxpayers for it 5 days a week, no reason. Limit the hours, save money. No township office needs to be open 5 days a week like North Adams, who milks the taxpayers for 5 days a week for 2 people in North Adams Township office, and then raises my taxes $100. I hope everybody in Adams Township knows Susie and Pat are on salary. They're not, they are trying to get the job done that they were dealt with. Pat has been Adams Township treasurer for 42 years, and no one has ever accused her of milking the taxpayers before. And why all of a sudden now? I wonder if it has anything to do with the clerk and the cowboy talk on the coffee, over coffee. Something to do with this. And again, it doesn't matter if you spend 1 hour Sunday morning, or if you spend 5 or 7 hours a day for 5 days a week, Susie, you guys aren't going to get any credit for anything. And you're obviously not getting any extra money. But I think everybody in here should know you guys are salary.
All right, who's next?
I guess I'll go.
Okay.
Don't sound so excited. I just want to take a couple of minutes to advise the board and the township of the 3 FOIA requests I recently submitted to Adams Township. The request was to obtain bank statements and property tax settlement statements from 2010 to 2022. I haven't the time in these 3 minutes to discuss all the details, so Mark and I will continue the video series to explain it, and it can be found on YouTube. But to summarize, the response that I received to my FOIA included 2 arbitrary hourly charges. $20 an hour for a report that should be pulled from Patricia's computer and the BSNA software that she runs on it, and a $30 an hour for bank statements. The response also included almost $800 for copying and printing charges, despite the request for it to be electronic. So then I FOIA'd for the policy and guidelines in reference to the FOIA law referenced, or that pertains to it, because it should be based on the hourly rates. Presumably the township did not have FOIA policies and guidelines. At least I couldn't find one, and no one on the township board was aware of the guidelines and procedures back in 2022 when we were going through the debacle with Reuters. With this, I also requested any meeting minutes that passed policies and guidelines. I received the 2023 resolution that this board passed, and stapled to the back side of it was a single-page resolution with a sheet of paper with 5 line items, including the arbitrary $20 an hour. I also received the August 2023 meeting minutes referencing the resolution. Neither the resolution nor the meeting minutes contain any reference to anything other than assigning the FOIA administrator position to the township clerk. And then I also received a 3rd document, which was entitled Adams Township FOIA Policy and Guidelines, and was signed and dated in 2015. But here's where it gets interesting. First, the hourly fees in 2015 are $10 an hour. Seeing as the board did not pass anything pertaining to this, the $20 and the $30 an hour charges are both arbitrary and unlawful. Second, the procedures and guidelines that were put in place in 2015 clearly designate the clerk as the FOIA administrator and the township treasurer as her backup. Given that Patricia's been on this board for 40 years, she voted on this, and she should have been my backup when Reuters was coming in and FOIAing me when I had attorney-client privilege on it. Yet is this just yet another breach of your township duties? You, and as well as your friends Bonnie and Janice, you guys owe Mark and I an apology for that. That is, every person should have stepped up. And no wonder you had no scruples on this issue, and you let us flounder. You knew, you had to have known, or you should have looked, or had someplace. But either way, what was going on here was absolutely ridiculous, and the stress and the extra accusations that were put onto it. So with that said, the township may want to revise their original FOIA request to me. I have consulted counsel, and what I'll do is cede my time so that Bonnie and Janice can remind you the importance of following FOIA law and not getting the township involved in legal tangles. Thank you.
Who's next? Janice?
I am so mad, I'm just floored. What you guys have been through is absolutely terrible. First of all, she took over in May. She came in and had to sign some checks that were written and laid on the desk and never signed to pay people. So Susie signed the checks and paid them. Then the police were called on her. That's ridiculous. I can write checks, date them, and my kids can come in and sign them 2 weeks later, and that's not illegal. And as far as the FOIA, Mark, I asked you 3 months straight why you guys didn't answer the FOIA that you were served. And now you're having a fit, and just turn it around. You people aren't working with anybody. It's ridiculous that you didn't answer the FOIA, and now you're having a fit because you have to pay to get information. It's excellent. You guys are doing a good job. And why Bonnie and I are mentioned in the FOIA business, I don't know. But keep up the good work.
Anybody else? Yes, Bonnie.
I hope when she wrote that you spelled my name right. Because it's with an I-E and not a Y. Because I've seen some of your previous spelling. I think she was supposed to address them. I'm talking to them.
Yes.
I just want to know, didn't the former clerk have all the access to all that information that she is now having recorded? Wasn't that all in her hands when she was the township clerk? I just don't know why she's asking for it now when she had complete access to it before.
Amen.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
I guess, I do have a couple of comments.
Mr. Meeks?
First, I'm wondering on the FOIA, what is the distinction between what things need to be FOIA, versus if I want to come in and, let's say, look at the zoning book? That doesn't require a FOIA, does it? What I'm asking is there some specific document that tells you what needs to be FOIA'd and what a person can just say, I want to see something? Do you see what I'm getting at? It's a question, I don't know. There's stuff in here about what can be requested by FOIA, but I'm just wondering, where's the line drawn? And who knows that? Do you know that? I don't know. The other thing is, as far as the costs, what I noticed as a footnote in the 2015 policy, it says that the fees must be limited to the actual costs of duplication, mailing, and labor. So I assume that whatever was provided to Stephanie is an estimate, and in the end, you would have to have a timesheet that says how many hours you actually spent putting this together. Is that true? Do you guys know that, or?
Mr. Meeks, we are not addressing the questions that are answered.
Okay, well, I'm asking these and I'm making a point that the footnote says you don't just charge what you think it's going to cost in time. It has to be actual time. It's in the footnote in the 2015 policy. I also noticed that there's a charge for the bank charges, 156 statements at $5 a statement, which means that would be 50 pages per statement per month. Is that how many pages there are in a bank statement? That seems to be inflated to me. I don't know, but it sure seemed odd. So, there you go.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Hearing none, we'll move on. myself to join him and get with the school, the village, Wheatland, and Moscow Township. And once we want to get away from this, we need it in writing, that they don't no longer want to do it. And the ones that are still wanting to be involved, we need to have a plan in place as to either repair or destroy. So either way that we look at it, we have to get this taken care of. It's been going on for long enough. It's getting worse. It's an eyesore. We agreed to getting into it. And we should stick to our word. If we're going to repair it, then we should repair it. If we're not going to, we need to know that too.
Did the school invest any maintenance for that?
The school was supposed to maintain it as long as they were able to use it. Now, 5 entities, that was the whole thing. The school still holds insurance on it. So if anybody's gonna get sued, it'd be the school. At least the insurance part. So this is being brought up because it was brought up to me at the meeting. And so when I return to them or talk to them about it, I'd like to have the board to say that we can go ahead and try and get some type of a plan in place.
Do you have any estimates?
Not yet. I plan on getting estimates on repair from 3 different companies.
Joni Jones had some numbers.
We had some at one time, you know, Belson Asphalt gave us a good bid onto it and an idea on how to replace it. And there's 2 other companies that have approached the school and school board on repairing all the place.
But they still want transport.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess. At one time, it was very usable and really nice to have it out there for the kids to be on, but anymore it's just a safety hazard. So we either need to step up and either make a decision for this to get taken care of, or we need to have the attorney drop some type of a paper saying that we don't want to be involved anymore. And let the village take it. They're the ones who are holding everything up.
But we'll have a lot more information once you guys meet
Yes.
with the other ones.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this doesn't require a decision tonight, it's just an information. And we'll know more about that later. Moving on, the treasurer's report. Motion made as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. To accept the treasurer's report as presented. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Bills. Okay, any questions, changes on the bills?
I motion as they're presented.
Motion made to accept the bills, pay the bills.
I would second.
Okay, go ahead.
Motion made, supported. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we're gonna move on to, clerk.
You do the minutes.
You have it in.
I know. And then add.
Okay. meeting, the minutes of the previous meeting of 9/11/2023. And the one right above Wood's.
Yep. I motion to amend and approve.
I'll support it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Clerk notes.
Clerk's notes. We're going to start out this evening with the generalization of something that I think everyone can easily and readily acknowledge. Having worked on this budget, there's some things that need to be said. First and foremost, I think anyone who gets their bank statement, normally to balance that, the first thing they pull out is their checkbook register. I think we're all familiar with this, whether you get it online or it is a physical register that you list your deposits and your checks in. I want to make this point because working on this, I want to make something very clear how things operate in this township. We have 3 checking accounts that are called funds. We have the cemetery fund, we have the general fund, and we have the tax fund. Each one of those funds that software is located on one computer. That computer is operated by the clerk. Period. One computer, one operator. We have one computer that the treasurer uses to process taxes. However, that is not an accounting system. The accounting system resides with the clerk. So looking at all of these accounts, it has become very clear since I've been working on the audit that when I ran the first general account, the amount of the balance and the deficit balance was astounding to me. We knew that I could not put the year-end entries, again, from the 21-22 audit into the system. I made a special appointment with the computer company, with Township, to bring the computer down, to change the date, to make those entries, and to close the year. So all those transactions, their adjustments, 4 pages of them, would close the year and would move on to the next year for starting balances. So when I did this, I thought surely this would be, when I got stuck, and I will say stuck, with an audit from 22 to 23 that the clerk arbitrarily decided she wasn't going to do. And now I am in charge of this. So in reality, in my world, I'm living in the past, I'm living in the present with the daily work, and I'm working towards the future. What I have found is astounding. And I'm going to try to explain this as easily as possible. And folks, please go back to your own accounts, your own check register when you get your bank account. I think the problem here is that the clerk did not understand that with 3 accounts, every entry that she makes, whether it's a deposit or it is a check, she is creating a check register. She is absolutely creating a check register. No different than your bank. Sends you to show you what you've done, and you compare it to what you have in your register. To go further with this, again, the only entries, 1 computer, 1 operator, 3 accounts where items, let's take the cemetery. As the first account on the cemetery, an item that would be given to you to put in would be someone purchasing a plot. That would be a deposit. When a foundation is built, that would be your check. No different than your checking accounts, your deposits, your checks. Okay? The general fund. Randy issues a permit. He gives that permit, the money goes to the treasurer. They all have a receipt, they all have a deposit slip attached. That's your deposit. When the clerk pays the phone bill, the light bill, there's the check, that's your credit. Deposits, checks. Well, in doing this audit, I'm astonished to tell you, and I don't mean this to be harsh, but it's the only way to explain it. The clerk didn't know what she didn't know. If you are creating a check register in a computer system that is designed to do the accounting, there must be a reconciliation sheet. There is a reconciliation sheet for every single account. It is called the general activity account. So again, one computer, one operator, putting in, making the check register for the general ledger activity. So when I got this and then saw that on the year-end entries from the audit, I called the auditor and I said, I find it confusing after what I'm seeing, just running one of each. Register, check register for the cemetery, for the general fund, and for the tax fund. This is what she sent me. First and foremost, this doesn't come off the clerk's computer. If the clerk is the only one with the capability and her job to put in each deposit and each check, in the business world, this is called a daily. That's all it is. It is not a check register. It is a daily. There is no way that you can possibly, in a million years, balance your checking account without your check register. Herein comes the problem with the audit. This is what was given for the balances in the accounts, per the auditor. None of the accounts were balanced with the check register. None of them. The discrepancies in them are astounding. When you run this, you also see any errors or omissions that you would have by having not entered it in the check register. So going through this, it is absolutely astounding that someone, had she run this, if the clerk whose responsibility it is had run this, she would have seen that's why this whole audit is blown up. I also believe this is the reason that she foregoed and unilaterally made the decision not to do the new audit. Every single entry has to be posted. You have to balance from a register. If you think you can balance from this, the next time that your bank statement comes, go and knock on your neighbor's door and ask for their check register. Because that's just about how well the balancing of the bank account is going to go. Entries that were put in on the general account are nonsensical. They are literally imaginary checks and imaginary deposits. The cemetery account for over a year was off $786.36. This would have come in handy. If you miss a deposit, you have the numbers. They're all numbered. You would go to the treasurer and simply ask, my bank statement shows a deposit for $15. on such and such a date. Being small as they are, I can see where they become attached to a different paper. But you still have to balance the account. Otherwise, the errors and omissions, the township truly cannot make a determination of what their funds are. On the tax account, this is a collection of taxes. It has the deposit slip. So as far as any oversight that the clerk may think she has on the treasurer, that's ridiculous. The bank's the oversight. They're not going to give you more money than what you give them in your deposit. The same thing with the check. You have a check. This one happens to be from the county to the county treasurer for the percentage of collected taxes. It has a check number. On not one of the bank reconciliation sheets on the tax fund is there one check number. This is outrageous that all this time I have listened for over a year the former township supervisor and the former clerk berate, blame, and use ageist remarks against the treasurer who's been here 40 years because the clerk didn't know what she didn't know and she never asked. One call to the computer company, if she would have known, if she would have admitted she didn't know what she didn't know, she could have called them and said, you know, I can't find a bank reconciliation sheet. Can you help me out? There's all sorts of reports in there. I found it on my own. I also found the void check register, which has a lot of amazing things on it. At this point, there are over $716,000 in checks on the tax account that have never been registered into the clerk's accounting system. There are over $131,000 in deposits that were never registered in the clerk's accounting system. Again, one computer with the program, one operator. This is across all of them. To go back